not that big. They are just, in a way, you could say, how should I? I'll take care of it. Not to worry. Yeah, just let me start this again for people at home. And yep. Sorry, guys, we keep disconnecting. Yeah, there we are. So basically, there's not a lot of difference, to be honest. Sure, please go ahead. It's for you. I mean, we can all train together in the writing task or in the writing part for academic. There is a very high chance you're going to get some graphs or pie charts or bar charts to study and extrapolate data and just talk about the data. For journal training, it's pretty straightforward for writing. It's a letter and an essay. But if you train for everything together, it's honestly no harm, because it's the same idea. The marking guidelines and everything is more or less the same. The only difference that we're going to face if we all are to study together, and people at home as well. For academic, I might be giving you different assignments, and for journal training people, I'm going to be giving different assignments, but they're going to be graded properly and in the same way. And the same goes for reading. Honestly, not a big difference. What I try to do is I picked out the most difficult practices that I could find, and I just have my students do all of them, because my last batch, I had 2 for academic and 2 for general. So it went really smoothly. Okay, now here's the types. Now, obviously 4 skills, like we talked about: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. These are the 4 types where we talked about it. Scores go from all the way to 1.0 to 9.0, and they are called bands. For some reason, I have no idea why. And you could call this a non-user, and 9.0 is called an expert user. Getting this score is close to impossible. Why? Because reading and listening, you can get a perfect score. Multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks. I myself got a perfect score in listening. It's pretty easy to do if you just practice hard enough. The same goes for reading. But with writing and speaking, they are graded subjectively, right? How are they graded? You are talking to me, I'm your examiner, I'm asking you some questions. So your answers will be recorded on a device, and the device is going to go to the examiner, or that file will be sent to the examiner. They're going to listen to it, and then they're going to grade it accordingly. Since it's subjective, you can never get a perfect score. The same goes for writing as well. So there is no perfect score here, but you can easily get an 8.5 if you want. 9 band is impossible, almost next to impossible. I think I haven't heard anybody who got 9 in writing and speaking. There aren't even any samples available out there from British Council or otherwise. No samples. For reading and listening, pretty easy. You can get it. You just need to work hard. So that is how the whole IELTS setup is like. Now, target scores. What's your target, sir? Do you have a target?
Yes, absolutely. I have a target. Reading and listening is obvious. I want to get the most score, 8, 9. Listen and writing and speaking, those more which I help with. And I want to get as maximum as 8.
But what is the score that you need to do whatever you're trying to do?
7.
Overall 7. All right. And what's your target?
My target score is
778. So we could say, let's just shoot for 8. That would be the safest bet. And you should shoot for 7.5 across, right? So, and this is how the whole thing is going on. Like for academic applicants, you need somewhere between 6 and 7 mostly. And for general, you need somewhere between, let's say, 8 to, I wouldn't say 9. I would say 7.5 to 8.5. That's a very comfortable place to be. It's easy, guys. Let me tell you, it's very easy. You just need to do a few things and you can get it. Now, 2 types of tests. There is something else here as well. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. Computer-based and paper-based. Do you guys know what that is? So which one are you going to go for? Asad?
Paper-based.
And you?
I want to go with.
Why do you want to go for paper-based?
Because as well as I heard from some of my friends who appeared in fights, so we specifically go paper-based.
Why?
Paper-based and speaking, especially, and listening.
Okay.
And in writing.
All right.
It's quite much easier than paper-based.
Okay. Guys, now look, I have given both of these, incidentally, not on purpose. When I was yeah, sure. That's what I'm trying to, make you guys understand. So when I gave my paper base, it was somewhere around 2004, 2005, or maybe older than that. When I was trying to go to London for my studies, and I got there, got a good score. It was paper-based test. There was no computer-based option anyway back then. I just gave my latest one last November in general training, and I gave a computer-based test. I just wanted to know what it's going to be like. I was pretty confident because I already got a good score way back when, so I wasn't really scared. So it was a really good experience. Now there are a few problems. Human error for paper-based. There is this one huge thing that people don't really take into account. It's the human error. Think about it. I just think about it. Multiple choices, right? You're trying to mark down your answers, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. And you just need to select one or two, maybe. You've got a pencil. You mark it down. But for some reason, it's not registered by the computer, or maybe the examiner who's trying to check those manually cannot really see your marks or that little spot that you put in. That happens a lot. You lose points. Or you're writing an essay. You've got really great handwriting, but for some reason, one word that you said, for example, you just wrote computer, but the R is not legible. It's not readable. Your examiner might downgrade you for a spelling mistake. So that's human error right there. For computer-based, no spelling mistakes. Yes, no spelling mistakes at all. But you won't have autocorrect. Let me tell you, I know that's what you were thinking. You won't have autocorrect. You won't have any tools that Microsoft Word or any other tool gives you. Even full stops you have to put in manually. You remember, we get these full stops, and whenever we hit that full stop button, we get an auto space. You're not even going to get auto space. You're not going to get auto capitalization. It's going to be like you're writing a document on Notepad. So you need to be, and it won't even tell you if you have spelled something incorrectly. Nothing at all. So it's exactly like a paper-based test, or like as if that you're writing something on a piece of paper, but you have more control over it. Another thing, imagine this box as your screen, and you've got questions here, 1, 2, 3, wagera. But here is something really important. There are two things here that are important. On the bottom, there are numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 40 or 50, how many questions you do. Now, whichever question you attempt, it either colors itself or you get a circle on it automatically. And I'm sure almost every one of us has made this mistake at least once in a lifetime. We thought we just gave a really great attempt on an exam, but when you go out of the room, we talk to a student, we talk to our friends, and they go like, "Oh my God, you just missed out 2 important questions." And we were like, we didn't even see those. This happens a lot. I don't know if it has happened to you. It has happened to me so many times. I had time, but I didn't even look at those questions. It just missed out completely. This little bar here is going to tell you if you have attempted all questions or not. And even if you want to skip some, you feel like, yeah, I'm not sure of this question. I'm not sure of question number 2. So I'm going to finish everything. I'm going to come back to as many questions as I missed before. I'm going to check them later. So you have that little marker down there. And on the top, you have a timer. You don't have to look at the clock. You don't have to talk to the examiner. Everything's there on the screen. It's easy. And I think, now it's just an assumption, that you are saving at least half a point just by giving a computer-based test. Because you are completely not even minimizing, you are completely excluding the possibility of human error when it comes to a pen and paper. So I always recommend go for a computer-based test. It's highly recommended. And it's the new thing. When you go abroad, you're going for a student visa, my bad. But even if you go abroad for a general training exam, where are you going?
I'm planning to go to Canada.
Canada. You're obviously going to get a driver's license. Obviously, you need a driver's license. For a driver's license, you need to do some tests. You need to take some exams. They're all computer-based. All of them. So you better get used to it anyway. Everything is like that over there. So it's better to get used to new technology as soon as you can. And the whole course material that I've devised it's also designed in a way that you have to attempt most questions on a computer. So you'll get used to it anyway, especially the essays and the letters. Now the prep sessions. All right, now what is this session about, right? Now this is a prep session and I just wanted to quickly go through how we're going to do it. Yeah, 30 hours of in-class sessions. They are going to be conducted either over here or online. We are right now broadcasting this class online as well. It's not interactive at the moment, but when we start our class properly, this will be interactive as well. All of you people online, if you're listening to me, we will have an interactive session. I'll be able to hear you. We're just not ready for it today. So you can take this class either online, offline, or even both. You feel like you can come in on Monday, but not on Tuesday and Wednesday, like everybody else is doing right now. So that's the model we are going with. So 30 hours of in-class sessions, 2 hours a day. Now, 2 hours a day, I really don't want to go 3 hours because that is just too draining. And it goes all the way up to 3 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 3 days in a row. So that we can cover more ground. We don't need to have any refreshers. And this is going to go all the way up to 5 weeks. That is the whole format of the session. What will we be doing? Now, obviously, this is something that I've already prepared for, but we can go either more or less, depends on the students and what they want. First thing we're going to do is a mock test. Did you guys get a mock test yet? Yes, you did. I see that. Now, that mock test is something that will tell you where you are. You'll attempt it. You will know what your scores are. I'm obviously going to grade you down. If you're getting a 7, I'm going to give you a 6, just to be safe. It's better to, prepare for an 8, but get a 7 in your practice so that you can get a better score later on. So I'm going to grade you down anyway, at least half a point to a point, just to be safe. So that's one mock test right there. That's how we're going to start. So from then on, we're going to know how we are going to do this course with you guys. After that, we're going to have 10 reading practices. We're going to have 10 reading, 10 listening, and 10 writing practices. We can go more. It's not a problem. There have been students who finished the class in their goal and they went like, we want to practice more. We want to get better at it. We are getting a desired score, but we still want to prepare more. So I have so many of these. I cannot tell you. I think I've got over 50 of each of these. And these are like reading tasks, both listening. There you get, I think this is like a full session, a half an hour session. So I've got 10 half an hour sessions here. The 10 writing means 20 tasks for one each. Like 10 means 2 tasks in a practice. So you get 2 tasks. So it's like you will be doing your IELTS test at least 10 times, if not more. All right. So basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So this is what the whole class is going to look like. And in terms of speaking, we'll have 3 speaking classes. When I say speaking classes, it means that we have 2-hour classes every day, or at least 3 days a week. So we have 6 hours of speaking practices.
In a week?
No, just in total. We will have 3 total classes. It's going to be either a week back to back, or we are going to spread it out through each week. It kind of depends where we are. I will need to assess you, and I'm going to see how we're going to do this. Maybe we need to have back to back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just speaking and nothing else. Or maybe we can do it every Monday or every Tuesday, every Wednesday. We can see how that goes. That is still open. So this is what we're going to do, just an idea. Now, what will you learn? I mean, there are a few things that I've actually learned myself when I've been teaching the students. And I've seen that they have picked these things up. So I thought, just put them down together so that you have an idea exactly what we're going to do. We are going to learn your weaknesses. Some people are good at speaking, some people are good at writing, some people are good at reading. We're going to see what your weaknesses are, and we're going to attack those. Then we're going to work on your strengths. We need to figure out what your strengths are. Some people are really good at listening. So I'm going to make sure they get at least 100% over there. If you're good at something, you better be excellent at it, right? It's just going to help you. Then recognize accents. This is not called recognize, yes. This doesn't mean that we will be creating accents of our own. Nobody cares what your accent is like. I know I have an accent, a little bit of an American accent. It it's all because I watched Friends while I was growing up, so that's where I picked up all of my English. But you really don't need to have an accent at all. Whatever accent that you have, however you speak, it works. Not to worry about it. But we need to figure out, how does a South African accent sound like? What about an Australian one? Somebody from Irish, or somewhere Midlands in England, or maybe from London or America, wherever they are. Why do you need this? Because in your listening modules, you will be bombarded with people talking in different ways. Like, I mean, I have a practice down where Chinese, like native Chinese people are speaking in English. Now, Chinese, they have I wouldn't say a problem, but they have a idiosyncrasy with L's and R's. Like they will use L's instead of R's and R's instead of L's. So you need to understand what they're saying. That's important. So we need to recognize accents. Another thing that is a problem, but we don't really understand that we do have it, is this. In your speaking assessment, you're going to be thrown such weird questions like, is it good to sleep at night or not? That's what I got. I was like, what are you talking about? I thought you're going to ask me something that's going to be important, but that's what they talked about. So you have to listen to what they're saying, and you cannot just keep on asking them to please repeat the question, please repeat the question. You need to understand just in one or maybe two attempts what they're exactly saying so that you could answer them properly. And the same goes for your listening module. There are so many distractors. Whenever you're listening to an audio clip, they're going to go on and on and on about how to play chess, for example. There's a small part in one of the listening practices that you're going to go through. A woman is trying to teach a man how to play chess, and she did that in 1 minute flat. No, I think 45 seconds flat. Now, there are a lot of rules involved in chess, but the questions in front of you are, how many rows and columns are there? That's it. So that was a whole distracting point. So that you keep on listening to each and every sentence she's saying. You didn't need to. You just had to figure out how many rows and columns did she say are actually on a chessboard. So you can completely not hear that, or hear it but not listen to it properly. So these are a few things that you need to pick up. And also absorb information. Remember what we said in the beginning, communication is key. So you need to be able to absorb information. This is important. The other thing that you will learn, hopefully, is this, punctuating your speech. I really don't know if this is actually a proper phrase. This is something I've come up with just to make people understand what I'm trying to say. Maybe people use this phrase, but what this means is how to have full stops and commas and exclamation marks in your speech. I'm sure you guys can understand when I'm ending a sentence or when I'm keep on going on and I'm listing a few things. Most people don't have that. Most people are not aware that you need to put on full stops and commas whenever you're talking about something. It's really important. How are we going to do this? We're going to talk about it later on in our class. And the last thing that we need to do is speed read. This is something, speed reading is a skill that you can only get by reading a lot, by reading books and books. But like, if you read a book, one book in a week, only then you can get speed reading. But there are a few things that I can equip you with that would help you how to figure out how to deduce answers or how to identify the answers in your reading module with the questions that you're given. So you don't have to keep on reading the full passage again and again and again whenever you are stumbled on a question that you don't understand. It's called speed reading. So figure out which paragraph has what information and what are they talking about. That's called speed reading, at least in this context. These are the skills, the culmination of skills that you're going to have. It might help you later on after IELTS, but our focus is purely on this exam, nothing else. All right. Now, just a few things that I'd like to touch up on before we end. Marking or grading rubric. Basically, it's what British Council calls how they've got a rubric. Basically, they've got a set of scores that what score to give to what person, and why should we give it. So there are two things, there are two modules that will be graded through this rubric. So reading and listening, you have an answer key, you can use it very easily, you can easily get 100%, no problem. You don't need a rubric for that. But for these two, you need a rubric. For speaking, you need to have fluency and cohesion. And then, yeah. And then we need lexicon, grammar, pronunciation. What are these? I'm going to get into them in a bit. Let me just write down what writing is. For writing, we need to have task achievement, lexicon, grammar, coherence, and cohesion. Let's talk about writing first. Task achievement, very straightforward, exactly what it is, the way it sounds. You've got a few questions in front of you, you need to attempt everything. That's it. So that's all you need to do. Make sure that you answer every question in your writing task. If it's a letter, make sure that you are talking about it, all the points that they ask you to. If it's an essay, they're talking about opinions, give your opinion. If they're talking about just talk about advantages and disadvantages, do that. They're talking about something else, do that. So you need to make sure that you do this. This is the easiest one to get, because all you need to do is just make sure whatever they ask you do. Lexicon is just another way of saying have good vocabulary, but not just good vocabulary, but have relevant vocabulary. You won't be using formal words in an informal letter. Specifically, just like that, you won't use scientific terms for an essay which is all about art and culture and inspiration and musing and whatnot. You could, depends on the context. So that's what lexicon is. Grammar, very straightforward. You need to know your tenses, prepositions, articles, so forth and so forth. So you need to have your grammar down, and coherence and cohesion. Coherence is, are your sentences making sense? Cohesion is the whole passage making sense? Are the paragraphs connected to one another? Is there a structure there? Can I see it? I mean, is there an introduction? Is there a body paragraph? Are there a couple of body paragraphs? Is there a conclusion or not? If it makes sense as a full piece, it's cohesive. If it makes sense in terms of sentences, it's coherent. That's it. For speaking, fluency and cohesion, again, you can hear me when I'm saying this. I mean, it's all making sense, right? Because I've prepared, not because I'm good, because I've prepared. So everything is making sense. I'm going through a proper set format. So I'm cohesive. Fluency, I'm not using anything like, you know, like all that stuff. It's completely out of my speech. I used to have that, but it's now completely out of my speech. You can use it. It's not a problem. But the more you use it, the more you try to think about words. Basically, fluency is what? When you're not fluent, when you're trying to talk to somebody, you struggle to come up with the proper words to use. You take a moment, you take a couple of seconds to do that. So that's being not fluent. So we need to be fluent. Lexicon, same vocabulary, grammar goes on the same. Pronunciation. You need to pronounce words the way they are pronounced. Not in terms of an American pronunciation is different than English one. South African is completely different. Pakistanis, they pronounce things completely different. So it doesn't matter where you're from. You just need to have the right pronunciation according to your own locality. Even that would work. But it needs to have the right pronunciation, right? So just the last thing that I would just like to say, I just heard you guys just for a bit, so I don't think you need to worry about this, but there's one thing that is very important, that we work for scores, not to learn the language here.
Yes.
You need to know the language before you come here. If you want to learn the language, not a problem, we are there for you, but not in this session. This is for people who are looking to get a proper score in their IELTS exam. That's it. That's the bottom line. So we're just going to focus on these modules. You have some other questions during the class, not a problem. We will definitely discuss those, but it has to contribute to our goal. That's the most important part. We don't care about anything else. And that's it. Any questions, guys? So let me know. Any questions at
Sir,
all?
can you hear me? Murtaza, can you hear
It's
me?
all clear. I tried to make it as clear as possible, man.
Murtaza, can you hear me?
Sir,
All right.
Yeah, Murtaza, can you hear me?
आ रही है? मैं आवाज सुन रहा हूँ आपकी.
Arsalan, do you have a question?
Yeah. I would like Mustafa
So guys,
Numan
thank
and,
you for joining us from home, and get in touch with Arsalan. If you have any questions, or he'll get in touch with you. If you have any questions, leave it on the chat. We are going to be open in terms of a meeting, but I'm not going to be there anymore. So any questions, let us know in the chat. Thank you for joining in. So that you can get your listening part. And speaking, I can always assess you when you come back. So you suppose that I can assess you right there.
So this is the first mock test?
Yeah, this is the first mock test. This is like a highlight of what you're gonna get.
Okay, Mustafa, Zahra, would you like to ask something from the instructor? You can ask now.
Yeah, I'm right here, guys.
Mustafa,
Let's unmute everyone first now. Really? Okay. You mind if I? Okay, thank you. I'll just have a small session with them, and I'll have asked everybody to unmute. And I'm right here. So guys, any questions? We are here for you for a bit. Can I get a glass of water?
Yeah, sure.
With that? Thank you, man. Oh, it's right there. Hushed. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Mustafa. Oh, wait. I don't think I can hear you. Hello?
जी.
Yes. Walaikum assalam. Yes, Mustafa.
सर असल में मैं लेट ज्वाइन किया था, मुझे ना अभी इसकी इतनी कुछ समझ में नहीं आया सेशन के ना, और इंट्रोडक्शन जो आपने किया ये मुझे थोड़ा क्लियर हुआ है.
Sure. Okay. All right. मैं आपके लिए थोड़ा बहुत क्विक कर लेता हूँ. Are there any other questions before I answer Mustafa? Noman, Zahra?
सर स्पीकिंग के ऊपर था. स्पीकिंग का सर टाइम कम नहीं है, क्योंकि स्पीकिंग में तो ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट होता है.
ट्रस्ट मी मुस्तफा, जब आप होंगे क्लास में आपको पता चलेगा. 6 घंटे हमारे डिस्कशंस अगर होंगे तो वो कम नहीं होगा, आपको बहुत ज्यादा लगेगा. बट स्टिल देखें, इसके अंदर ये है कि ये जो हमने एक फॉर्मेट बनाया, द फॉर्मेट दैट वी हैव क्रिएटेड, it's nothing but a guideline. It's not something set in stone, right? So if we feel like yes, we need another session for speaking, or if somebody specific needs another session, so we are always happy to adjust it accordingly. So that's not a problem at all. Okay?
सही.
Zara, do you have any questions? You need to unmute yourself, please. Walaikum assalam. जी Zara.
मैंने आपका सेशन अटेंड किया और बीच में थोड़ा सा ड्रॉप हुआ मुझसे. मेरे घर कोई काम हो रहा था, तो मैं फर्दर अरसलान से इन टच रहूंगी इंशाल्लाह.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Zahra, do you have a question from the instructor? Anything you'd like to?
No, right now, not at all.
Okay. All right. Mustafa, anything else you would like to ask in terms of the session? कोई चीज आपसे रह गई हो?
सर ये पूछना था, ये हमें 5 वीक जो मिलेंगे मतलब कि मंथ में आइल्स की तैयारी के लिए, इसमें पॉसिबल है कि जैसे मैं अपने आप को कहता हूँ मैं इसमें डालूं और मैं तैयारी कर पाऊंगा, तो मेरे लिए क्या इसमें होगा, मतलब बंदा इसमें 5 वीक
अच्छा
की
देखें,
तैयारी हो पाए?
ऑलराइट, आपने कहा भी that you missed a lot of slides as well, right? So let me just get back to it. There are 3 days a week it's in class, and the rest of the days you will be practicing at home with the assignments that I give you. So it's not just that कि आप एक हफ्ते में सिर्फ तीन दिन काम कर रहे हैं. You will be studying for it every day. Number one. Number two, before we know if you're actually good or not at English, we have a mock assessment ready, and that's how we're going to start the class. वहां पे आपको और मुझे, हम दोनों को पता चल जाएगा कि आपकी इनिशियल पोजीशन है का. Do you score a 3 band, 4, 5, 6? It depends once you are done with your mock assessment. और उसी के साथ साथ we're going to know that in what bands do we need to focus on. Do you understand मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ? So हम इस तरह चलेंगे. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि you will be left behind in class. That's not going to happen at all. All right?
सही.
Zara and Mustafa, I will send you the self-assessment on WhatsApp. You need to check your WhatsApp. I will send you after the class, okay? It would be a soft copy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Anything else? Anything else before we conclude?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you, Zara, for joining. And thank you, everybody else. ठीक है?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.